Joining me now for some analysis is political analyst Carl Calabrese. Carl, early on, a lot of pundits said that Paladino had a big advantage, but it seems like Nick Langworthy has closed the gap. What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting because a month or so ago, I was asking a number of prominent Republicans and Republicans who know the business pretty well what they thought of the race. And almost without exception, they all said Paladino big. But a week ago, I had an opportunity to talk to many of the same people at an event and ask them the same question. And it was not so emphatic. It was much closer. It's going to be a close race. They weren't not nearly in the same position they were a month ago. I think that's driven by a number of factors. One of them, I think, was the poll that was done that showed Nick Langworthy up by 2 points. Now, that's within the margin of error of that poll. So that's essentially saying it's a toss-up.
And I will mention in contrast that a pollster also that Paladino had touted quite a bit showed him up very big about a month ago. So it'll be interesting again to see what those final results are. Let's talk a little bit about the effectiveness of television ads. How effective do you think those have been?
I think Nick Langworthy had to do a lot of ads because Nick Langworthy was not nearly as well known at the start of this race as Paladino, who's been involved in politics and running for governor and was on the school board and has been involved in a lot of controversial issues. So Carl started off with a lot of name ID, and that's one of the reasons why you start advertising early is to establish name ID. Nick Langworthy was, those of us involved in kind of inside baseball or politics certainly know who Nick is and has followed his career from county chair to now state chair. And so I think it was really driven by necessity that Nick do a lot of TV advertising.
And let's talk about the Trump factor too, because he kind of had a relationship with both Langworthy and Paladino prior to this race. What do you think that means, that he's really not coming out backing one or the other?
I think Donald Trump did not want to pick amongst favorites, so to speak. And, it's obvious Trump has always been a supporter of the concept of loyalty. And I think he sees two men who've been loyal to him. And if a resident of this district, NY-23, is a strong Trump supporter, he's got, he or she can make their choice for Langworthy and know they're voting for a Trump supporter, or they can vote for Paladino and know they're supporting a Trump supporter. So it's going to come down to some other factors other than who is Donald Trump supporting in this race. So they may have to look at positions on issues, and I frankly don't think there's a big difference in the position on the major issues between these two men. I think it's going to come down to style. What style of congressman are the residents of this district comfortable with?
Carl Calabrese, always great to hear your insight. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mary Alice.